Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency with your host, Terry Harrington.
Welcome to Dateline Schools. The new year is offering some new learning opportunities for local students who dream of earning a college degree. It's just been announced that the Blue Water Middle College has been created and is now taking applications for classes to begin this fall. So on this edition of Dateline Schools, we're going to learn all about the Blue Water Middle College with the college director, Pete Spencer, and St. Clair County RESA Superintendent, Dan DeGrow. But first, let's tune in to this education update.
Thank you, Terry. The St. Clair County Know How to Go initiative is helping local high school students get the new year off to a good start by offering workshops to help improve their ACT scores. The ACT test prep sessions begin January 15th at both the St. Clair County Community College MTech building and Yale High School. Sessions will be offered for 4 weeks and cover math, English, science, and reading. Students can study as few or as many areas as they would like. Gail Simon, RESA Higher Education Consultant, says the workshops help students raise their test scores, giving them a better shot at scholarships and getting into the college of their choice. A number of students at Woodland School are finding out horseback riding can be more than a pleasant pastime. The therapeutic horseback riding program, new to Woodland this year, is being used to help treat students with non-physical impairments, particularly those with autism. Students ride once a week for a 6-week period at Rattle Run Farms in St. Clair. They learn such things as getting on and off the horse, handling the saddle, brushing the horses, and giving commands while riding. Occupational therapist Michelle Lemansky says the experience helps to improve students' concentration and body awareness. Texting and driving is a hot-button issue right now, and tech case managers worked with students last month to ensure they don't participate in this dangerous activity. It's all part of tech's digital ethics training, a new session offered by the case managers. Topics covered included cyberbullying and social networking sites, but the biggest emphasis was on texting while driving. After an informational session, students got the opportunity to sign Oprah Winfrey's No Phone Zone pledge. More than 85% of students signed the pledges, which are displayed in tech's hallways. School Board Appreciation Month is being observed throughout January. More than 4,000 citizens statewide serve on school boards, where they are responsible for overseeing the types and quality of programs their districts offer, as well as ensuring that the budget is in order to pay for them. Many board members receive no compensation for the hours they spend setting policies for their students. If you see a school board member this month, take a minute to thank them for the many contributions they make to our students and communities. For Dateline Schools, this is Yvette Pichet. Terry Harrington will return in a moment.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. Here it is, a brand new year, and with it comes a brand new opportunity for local high school students who have a dream of going on to college. It's called the Blue Water Middle College. And so joining me on Dateline Schools is the Director of Middle College, Pete Spencer, along with Superintendent, St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency, Dan DeGrow, to tell us all about this brand new middle college. So Dan, what is the Blue Water Middle College?
Well, it is actually a charter school with a license to be a middle college high school. And it's the opportunity for kids at the end of 10th grade to elect to spend an extra year in high school, but spend those last 3 years, which would be 11th grade, 12th grade, and grade 13, going to both the community college and the high school. And when at the end of grade 13, they would graduate from high school and have the opportunity to get their associate's degree if they wish, or at a minimum, a lot of credits to transfer.
This is really kind of a new way of thinking of trying to increase the number of kids who go on to college from our schools, isn't it?
That's one of the goals, is to have more kids on to college, more kids get at least 2-year degrees, hopefully keep going. The other goal is to allow kids to advance at their own pace. There's nothing magical about the end of high school that you're ready for college the next year. Some kids aren't ready then, some kids are ready earlier, and it's about flexibility and opportunity.
Is this really a new way of doing dual enrollment that we currently have with our schools?
Well, it's more than dual enrollment, which is limited to a much smaller number of classes. Because dual enrollment, you're on your own. You just go over and do it. As Pete will talk about in a little bit, this is a group of kids who are going to have extra help if they need it, be treated as a cohort, to have group experiences, that type of thing. So it's designed to make sure they succeed as opposed to dual enrollment, which is go ahead and do it if you want.
Is the St. Clair County Community College the only other partnering agency with RESA on this project?
Well, we have our high schools, Port Huron High, Memphis, Capac, and Yale high schools, and those are the places that kids would take their high school classes. Okay. They'd go back to their high school part-time. About 2/3 of the time in 11th grade, half the time in 12th grade, and hopefully just take an online class in grade 13 and be in college the rest of the time.
Does this? How will this match up with the the graduation requirements, the new ones that just really coming into play now?
It's still the same. I mean, to get their high school diploma, nothing changes. Certainly, it's a recognition that chemistry class in college probably counts for a chemistry class in high school, but nothing changes. It's part of what I think is going to be the trend, which is to get more kids going to college, but also give kids opportunity to move at different paces and to move when they need to move.
Now, funding is always a critical issue, obviously, especially here in the state of Michigan these days. How is this funding going to be funded, and how is that going to help the kids?
Well, we're a high school, so we get the money, but because we aren't going to offer any classes per se, we contract with the high school and with the college for the appropriate classes. And so we use the student foundation. One of life's ironies, it's far cheaper to go to community college for a year than to high school.
Really?
About 3,500 plus books versus 7,300.
Wow. I guess we never really realized that before. Stop and think of it.
Well, there are a variety of reasons. One is they have a lot of part-time instructors at the community college.
Sure.
And they have none in high school.
That's true, yep. Well, and I guess one of the questions too, then, the credits that they earn at the community college would go toward an associate's degree or can transfer into a 4-year degree and other programs around the state and the country, right?
Well, it's just like going to community college, except earlier.
Great. Well, why is RESA spearheading this effort now, and what do you hope to get out of this here?
Well, we're doing it because for Capac, Memphis, and Yale, it wouldn't be possible for them to do it alone, really. They're too small. They couldn't get enough numbers to generate enough revenue to employ the people to do the cohort part. But we're doing it now because I think the time's right in terms of what's going on. Statewide, we're a low state in terms of people with college, and St. Clair County's low within the state. So I mean, this is also an economic development tool to help ensure that the people that stay in this county and live here and work here have the appropriate education levels to get good jobs.
Now, you just announced this as we came back from holiday break and all that, so the news is really fresh here. What kind of responses are you getting from the college, from the local districts, and maybe the EDA and the other entities around the county?
Well, we're getting a really good response from the partners, the college and the 4 superintendents involved. And the coming weeks will let us know what kind of response we get from the community. I think it'll be a positive response. I think they're going to welcome another option.
But obviously it's going to take some time before we start seeing some real results.
Well, of course, the first kids will start next fall, and 10 years from now we'll see what happens.
Pete, how many students are you hoping to have when you open the Blue Water Middle College this fall?
I think we're hoping for at least 100, possibly as many as 130, 140 students. It's a little unknown right now what the response will be, but the benefit to the students and the families is great. So everything we're hearing so far is pretty positive.
Is this kind of unique for St. Clair County, or is this kind of modeled after other programs around the state?
Well, it's modeled, but we're the only one that does it through charter school.
Okay.
I mean, Pete's going to have, there's been 4 or 5 already established, and he's going to have some counterparts that are starting up next fall, doing it a little differently, but the same thing.
Well, Dan, explain for us a little bit, because you mentioned charter school a couple of times, and that's really the backbone of this. Explain how that works with the charter school system here in the county. We haven't talked about that for quite some time.
Well, charter school is like a regular high school, except you have to get a permission and authorization from the state to start one. You have to submit your plan. We have a charter school in the county. Landmark Academy is a charter school, for example. The difference here, we had to spend a lot of time with the state explaining to them what we were doing. We're not doing any actually teaching.
Sure.
We're hiring it out at the high school level and the college level. But that it makes sense to do it that way.
Sure.
Kids get to finish up with their participating in athletics, stay with the kids they've known all their lives part of the time, but also begin the process of moving on.
Now, it's kind of unique, though, that this is the second charter school you've opened in January in the last 2 Januaries, because you had the online charter school going. How's that going right now?
Virtual Learning Academy is doing great. We're up to, ironically, about 140 students, kids that have dropped out or have been expelled, and we've given them 8 to 10 diplomas at least, and growing, and it's doing really well.
Good. So with the charter school, you have a board of education.
We have a separate board.
So who's on the board for the Blue Water Middle College?
Carl Tomian, Dave McNash, Mark Walker, Jerry Jennings, Superintendent K-PAC, and Ken Cummins. What we've tried to do, we've got a former professor at the college. We have one of the local superintendents, so we've tried to get people with some experience and some interest in this.
How much input does the board really have for this type of a school setting?
Well, they have as much as they want. It's different in the sense that they won't be hiring teachers and all that type of thing. But they're going to help set policies, so I mean they play a major role.
Great. Pete, as a director of the middle college, what is your role going to be in here, especially as Dan says, you're not going to have to hire teachers and using what we already have here in the community?
Well, I think one of the benefits of a middle college, even as opposed to a dual enrollment where high school students are taking college classes, the benefits of the middle college is the support that the students get once they're in the program, and the idea too that it is a planned program these students will be in. So a lot of my role and the role of the support staff of the Blue Water Middle College will be to work with the kids individually, a lot of it in a counseling aspect, to make sure they're on track, to get all their credits in for not only the high school graduation but also their associate's degree or certification, whatever they're going for at the college level. And so it's critical that we set up a system and a network to support these students, because these are college courses. These kids are taking 11th to 12th graders, and even that 13th year. A lot of students, when they get into community college, aren't equipped with the skills and strategies to do well there, and they drop out. So we obviously don't want that to happen. So a lot of it is going to be helping those students.
How much is the college going to be helping provide that extra support that you just talked
about? The St. Clair Community College. We're going to tap into whatever resources they have, and we'll also explore ways to try to come up with new programs. But definitely in terms of tutorials, and we're requiring a class that all the Blue Water Middle College students have to take, which is a course that I believe SC4 requires as well, in terms of basically learning how to do college and succeed in college, if you will. So we'll really tap into what they have to offer.
Sure. Now we're going to be putting, when you talk about the juniors and the seniors taking college classes, I mean, these are going to be the actual classes that anybody can sign up for, English 101 to whatever level that they're going to be taking, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And these students will be in with whoever would be in the classes, and it could be a 20-year-old, could be a 40-year-old or whatever, but they're going to be mixed in with those students. And one of the reasons we're doing that is to offer more variety for the students. If we limited it to just a few classes and we filled those classes with Blue Water Middle College students, number one, they lose a little bit of the experience and what they can benefit from being with older folks. But also it would really cut back on the options they have. So basically when they get into the middle college program at SC4, they'll be able to take pretty much whatever their interests are.
Right. And I think one thing I find kind of interesting is that you intend to help each student design their own personal education plan. We don't really have that with the kids in the schools today. I mean, they have an idea, your college prep, or that kind of thing. How are you going to accomplish all of that, and how will those come together?
Well, the students have had as a requirement an educational development plan, an EDP. But it's used to varying degrees. They set it up, and in some cases the counselors help them follow it very well, in other cases not so much. But I'm expecting that we'll use those to help the student plan out their career options that they're interested in, and then actually put the scheduling in, and then also use that to help. You can input other things as well, such as volunteer opportunities and so on. So it's really going to take quite a system to make sure these kids have that plan and stick to it.
Okay. I know, I've got a son in college, had a daughter just graduated in May, and what they start out at isn't always the way they finish. Well, these students have the opportunity to kind of maybe change, maybe say from an English major to a math major or something if that's what they desire to do.
You bet. A lot of the classes they'll be taking, especially during their 11th grade and 12th grade years, will be classes that can be transferred to almost any program at SC4 or also at a four-year university. So there will be some specific focus that they can go into. If they know they want business, we can get them on a business associates. But a lot of the courses will be transferable if they choose to switch at the end of 12th grade year or even at the end of the 2 years.
I guess that's one of the nice things about being at the community college level. It makes that a whole lot easier.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Well, we're going to learn a lot more about the Blue Water Middle College when we come back, how you can register your son or daughter as well, so don't go away. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Dateline Schools. We're talking about a new learning opportunity for students called the Blue Water Middle College, and telling us all about it, my guests are the Superintendent, St. Clair County RESA, Dan DeGrow, as well as the Middle College Director, Pete Spencer. And Pete, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. How do students enroll, and what kind of requirements do they need to make to be able to be a part of this program?
Okay, well, there's no set criteria requirements that we have for the students for participation. Actually, there are some recommendations that we have. We want the students who enroll in the Blue Water Middle College to succeed, and we're going to help them and support them, but they will be taking college classes starting as early as 11th grade next year. So we do have, recommended grade point average that we, around 2.75, and there are some scores on tests that the students have taken over the last couple of years, the ACT Explore and Plan tests. And there are college readiness benchmark scores that the ACT folks have determined. And so we'd want the students to be near those numbers. Now, rather than list them all now, the recommendation would be to have the parents or students contact us. There is an application, if they're interested, to complete, and we're going to have that available at our office right now at the St. Clair County RESA, and it will be available online at the website. And I guess one of the things that I think would be best if parents and students are interested is to attend one of the informational meetings that will be offered. There'll be 4 of them in the middle of this month. Yale is January 17th, Port Huron January 18th at Port Huron High School, Memphis High School on January 19th, and KPAC January 25th. And those are all at the schools at 7 o'clock. And we'll be able to go into much more detail about the programs and what parents and students should consider if they're interested in applying.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know this year we're allowing juniors to come in because we're getting the program started. But really, once they get through their 10th grade year and haven't applied, will they be able to still apply if they want to?
Well, yeah, this year we're going to be looking mostly at the current 10th graders who will be in 11th grade next year. And we're also looking at working some students in who will be seniors next year, 12th graders as well. But likely once we get the process rolling, the idea will be to identify these students as they enter 11th grade and get them into the program.
Okay. I know, like with a lot of college entrance application things, there's an essay. Some of them even require high scores on ACT. Are you requiring that, or just basically following the community college guidelines that they have?
They're going to community college, so the only requirement to get to community college is a high school diploma or equivalent, but this is an exception under law. So I mean, there's nothing special. We just hope they're ready.
Great. Now, one other thing too is, how are the kids from KPAC and Yale going to get there? We're going to be providing transportation, or is that a parent requirement?
Same way they get there when they graduate from high school and go to SC4, they get there on their own.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would be we wouldn't be able to afford the program if we did that.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, with the variety of classes, the potential is that one student might be at SC4 from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Another student might elect to take an evening course there, and that might work best for their schedule. So with that variety, it's virtually impossible to provide transportation.
Now, in the first segment, Dan, you mentioned real briefly that the students will still have the opportunity to do their extracurricular activities, play football or basketball or whatever they're interested in. How's that going to work with this?
Well, a KPAC student who joins the program will go back to KPAC to take classes in the 11th and 12th grade and can participate in extracurricular activities at KPAC. And that's how they do it now with these type of programs.
Because scheduling, you got to be a schedule master to be able to work it all in, obviously.
I mean, you just can't schedule classes at the college during your practice.
Sure. Now, how's it going to work too? Because, yeah, like for this year, the community college spring break is like the first week in March. The school spring break is not until April. So how are those kind of things going to work out?
They get 2 spring breaks, but only half time each.
Oh, okay.
It's a college. They're expected to meet the classes at both. On the other hand, they'll be done in first week in May with their college classes.
So I guess that's a good kind of an incentive for the kids to be able to get involved.
Yeah, they're really going to be doing both.
Mm-hmm. Right. Pete, you talked about extra support a little bit for the students. What kind of support will you be able to provide through this program and through the college sources?
Well, initially, once the students are enrolled, they'll be required to attend a week-long session right before the college school year starts. Mm-hmm. So this would be in mid-August. And at that program, it'll be an orientation not only to the college campus, but also to learning at college with examples of what a class might look like and strategies. And that will start it off. And throughout the year, we'll be having potentially weekly sessions. And I don't want to call them just study sessions because some will be more planned and taught with strategies in mind to help students. And it's not always just about note-taking and studying for tests. There's other things that lead to success in college. We're also going to be taking advantage of, since we have students coming from different geographical areas, with the virtual technology and the networking that's out there now that the kids are familiar with and they like, and things such as Facebook, Twitter, even Skyping. If the students have it available, you can do some virtual tutoring and things like that. So it should be interesting, but we're going to try to take advantage of the new technologies.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I know the kids really gravitate toward that more than you and I do sometimes. That's for sure. What are the things that, as a parent of a college student, we all cringe about are books and the cost for textbooks? Will the parents have to pay for those, or that foundation grant pay for the books and supplies that students need for the college classes?
We cover the books, supplies at the college.
Well, that's awesome. So, I mean, yeah, sign us up, right? I mean, so that's great. When are registrations due?
Ideally, January 31st. We'll be at the high schools. It'll be offering the classes for the high school classes for the Blue Water Middle College the middle of this month, and we'll certainly have applications there, or parents can contact me at the St. Clair County RESA, and we'll get an application to them. We'd like them back, and one of the reasons is the scheduling at the high school starts taking place in February, and so for us to meet with these students individually, get their plan and get that information to the high schools for their scheduling will require us to get to know pretty much who our student body is at the end of January, very early in February.
Okay. Also, student goes through the program and gets all the high school credits taken care of, gets their associate degree through the community college. Who then grants the high school diploma for the student?
Actually, we do at Blue Water Middle College, but also the state has said the locals can give them one also.
Okay. So
they can have two.
Two, there you go. I guess that's something that most of us don't have, 2 high school diplomas. And then you're also talking like this year you're hoping to have about 100, 150 students. Is there a limit to what you can do with this, or is it just whatever the student and the market would bear on this?
Well, potentially. I mean, again, that's with our initial year, and so if we get 3 years rolling, we could have between 300 and 400 students. And possibly more, and the more students we get, then we can add support staff, which we would need to try to keep the numbers low in terms of helping the students. So in that respect, I'm guessing we could have several hundred easily.
Dan, one of the things that talked about briefly in the first segment was the benefit to the community. Can you explain that to why we need to do this and why we need to get more of our kids in college?
Well, if you look at the country as a whole, the portions of the country that are doing well even in the terrible economy are the areas that have a high percentage of college graduates. Taxation isn't really as big a factor. There are some low tax areas, some high tax areas that do well. The biggest factor is what percentage of your population is college educated. And Michigan ranks below the middle on that. Around 24% of the people in the state over 25 have a 4-year degree. And St. Clair County ranks low in Michigan with around 12%. So for our county to succeed in the future, to attract jobs so people can be employed, we need a better educated workforce. And this is just one tool to help do that. And also, it's good that government and the schools provide opportunities for kids. That's what we're there for.
Mm-hmm. That's great. What about for the districts that are participating, the high schools that are participating? Especially one of the issues we see is enrollments declining in these schools.
Yeah.
So how will this help them or
Well, it helps
benefit
them in this way. More kids are likely to want to go to their district because they offer this program.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, they lose some of the money from these kids because they'll be taking some of their classes at college. But I applaud the high schools involved because they've made a decision that they're in it for the kids, and nobody said this isn't what's best for the students.
Mm-hmm. So, Pete, parent has some questions on this. What can they do in addition to your meetings you have coming up this month? Because I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions from parents. How can we get some of those
Well,
answers?
the best thing I think is to call the RESA, and also the RESA website is at SCCRESA.org, and then from there's a link to the Blue Water Middle College right on that main page. And some of the documents and some informational documents are there, but also importantly the contact number. And so if you call the RESA at 810-364-8990, and they will direct the caller to me, and I'd be glad to talk with them and let them know about the program and how to go further.
Great. And as parents consider this for their son or daughter, what advice would you give them?
Just take advantage of the opportunity if it's right for the student. And again, we want the students who are involved, they're going to be stretched. We're stretching the students in a good way, but we don't want them to be totally overwhelmed and fail. And parents are going to wonder, is this right for my child? And I think the best thing to do is to either attend one of these meetings or call and contact someone involved with the program.
What's the website again?
SCCRESA.org, and that's RESA.org, and then from there, right on that main page, you'll see a link to the Blue Water Middle College.
Okay. And Dan, any final words, any advice to give to parents as well?
We're excited, ready to go. Hope they're ready too.
Okay, great. Well, a lot of new information for the Blue Water Middle College. Again, that website is SCCRESA.org. Take a look at it, get to these parent meetings, and find out this is something that could really help your son or daughter get that college degree. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Dateline Schools. We hope to see you again soon.